Red Bull, sunglasses, iPhone. Can you see all of yours at once? Well, I can. You might find out about that on I Don't Know About That with Jim Jefferies.
That was your best one ever.
Yeah. Pretty accurate.
There's 3 Red Bulls.
These
How
are all
long have we been
from
recording?
I've been sleeping badly and I had to wake up and all this type of stuff. I'm up and down. I'm dealing with a pregnancy. I don't have many vices left.
You drank all these right before the podcast, right?
I'm on my 3rd one, but I need a bit of caffeine at the moment. Yeah, a little bit. Well, Jack, what do you got for us?
Comment world.
Comment world, it's comment world. Reading comments off the internet in comment world. Opinionated fucks, well, we don't give a shit. So fuck them in the ass and let's be done with it. It's comment world.
Michael Miller, everybody.
Faces were infuriating.
I know. I did them for you, Forrest.
But wait, is that new song? That's the same song. We haven't any new songs. Huh?
We haven't gotten any new ones in because we got some good ones.
All right.
Most of these comments are from Manatee episode. Very well received. Everyone really liked Forrest. Someone said,
Surprising.
I haven't laughed so much through an episode before. You guys are always so entertaining, but this time I was crying with laughter.
That's nice.
Did anyone mention that I messed up the order in the family?
Someone did.
Okay.
Did you want to have it?
Of course they did.
No, I mean, Serenia is the order. I said family, but I think I even said in the podcast, look, you know what? Part of my brain's dead.
Has anyone mentioned that Tasmanian devils don't eat fruit?
Oh, no, I think you wanted to mention it.
How the fuck did that slip by with no one correcting me? It turns out they're carnivores with the 4th strongest jaw in the world.
How many episodes
and
ago was that?
it was the last one I listened to. But
when did you say it? What episode?
I just said it on an episode.
I'm like, we haven't done an episode
I
on
did.
Tasmanian
No,
devils.
I said it on an episode. Tasmanian devils eat things. And then I went to Australia and saw some Tasmanian devils like eat through a kangaroo leg. And I was like, right, they're not fruitarians at all. I got that completely wrong. I don't know where that bit of information popped into my head.
That's Steve Jobs.
And now it's making me think, how much more am I wrong about?
Wow. Crushed the Red Bull.
So there's a lot of nice stuff, but I wanted to do a new spin on Comment World today.
Oh, God.
So the new game.
Is there a song for that?
You can sing it if you want.
I don't know what the spin is.
Well, I'm about to tell you, and then you come up with the theme song.
Yeah.
So the game is, are these comments from one of our podcasts or
something Hitler said?
Completely impossible to tell.
First comment, the Jews are ruining the economy.
That was in our Bitcoin episode. I'm sorry, are these comments from one of our podcasts or on a video called High School Kid Sharts Himself?
Oh, wow. Why do you know that video?
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to read off some comments.
Jack was in high school pretty recently.
Yeah, I was just going back to visit and I sharted myself. Okay. So I'll read off some comments. And then
why were you visiting your high school?
I'm kidding.
Okay, all right.
Leave me alone.
Voice is breaking.
It always breaks and I can't stop it.
Let's go.
All right, first comment. Is this on our episode or on the video called High School Kid Sharts Himself? That was fucking embarrassing.
Sharts himself.
No, I'm going to say it's a comment from our thing.
I think our podcast. Yeah.
It's ours. It was on the Australian reptiles. I don't know. That was a good episode. I don't know
Wait, that's the whole comment?
That's fucking embarrassing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at least be specific so we know which part you're talking about.
The next comment is, that kid just shit himself.
Also our podcast.
Our podcast, yeah.
Next comment. I did a random number generator, so these are all just completely in a random order. How is that even funny?
Is that a machine, the random number generator?
You put in, I have the numbers ordered, and then it goes in and just puts them in a random spot.
The technology of today.
You just explained that the same way Jim explains things on the podcast. I put them in there, and then they randomly, the machine, random numbers.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
How is that even funny? That's embarrassing. Wow, you guys are just deplorable.
You know, you said you guys, so I'm assuming.
No, there's kids sitting around watching the kid shit himself. It's going to be the kid shitting himself.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty deplorable.
We are, but it is a kid sharts himself.
Yeah.
It's a kid sharts himself.
I mean, how's that fun? I haven't even seen it, and it's funny.
Of course it's funny. I assume there was other kids standing around laughing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But, yeah, and watching the video is better because you don't have to smell the shit.
Right.
It's like, it's a win-win. Yeah.
All right. Why was this on my recommended?
Our podcast.
Yeah, it's our podcast. Yeah.
It's sharts. It's sharts.
okay.
It's sharts.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
and why was it on your recommended?
yeah, that's something they have to ask themselves. Well, I guess they did.
Next comment.
You can really cheat this by like typing in like, I don't find Jim Jefferies funny. It's on the Sharts episode.
You mean on the shirt?
Because Jack's written it in. Jack put a comment in.
Jack is a piece of shit. I'm talking about Jack Hackett. Kid
Oh, that's
shirts
weird.
himself.
It's on the chart one. Next comment. Nope. Not interested in your farts. Good luck with that.
Our podcast.
That'd be our
Why did
podcast.
Jim
I'd
fart?
Because
probably
we talked
yeah.
about jarring our farts and selling them.
He's not interested.
Good memory. That's correct. It was from our episode.
All right, good.
He remembers all the fart content.
All right. This one. Quote, shit's fucked. That about sums it up. Smiley face.
Sure.
Shot.
That's us.
That's us.
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
It's country.
Do you have a guess what episode?
Maybe
Gun
something
control.
something
Gun
about
laws. Gun laws.
Gun laws. That's right.
look at Kelly.
You're pretty good.
Yeah.
Just using context
This
clues.
dinner party fact about slavery was so inappropriate. Kid sharding himself.
Next one. Your laugh is funnier than the video itself.
Does anyone have a funny laugh in here?
Shart.
Shot.
I don't laugh.
Shot.
Well, people say I laugh too much.
Yeah, people say we all
At a
laugh too much.
professional comedian.
Who I'm in the same room
Like
with.
you're watching the podcast because you think he's hilarious. I also do.
You can't fucking laugh, Kelly.
Sorry about that, guys.
Well, this one was from Sharts.
Shots.
Charts. How many views on that one?
I think like 500,000 views.
Damn.
All right.
It's pretty good. I feel
Better
We
better.
need to get the shark guy on the podcast.
Yeah, that was better than us.
Was he monetized?
Oh, you better. I hope so. Next comment. I feel bad for him, but I admit I laughed.
Shark.
Oh, that's about Jack, and that's this episode.
Wow, Inception.
It's Sharts. It's Sharts.
No.
But that is why I picked it for the confusion. Next one. I have no issue shitting on a French laptop. I am French. Moi, a fuck it.
That would be one of our fans.
A French laptop?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh, okay.
You're right. Yeah, it has to be one of our
A
listeners.
French laptop's just an
What is that about?
overheated laptop
I
that's
don't
smoking.
know. I don't know. All right, last comment. I'm pissed as a fart. An Irishman
Yeah,
drunk
that's-
as a
that's-
skunk.
I've
I
read
remember
that
this
comment.
one. Yeah, I
That was
remember
one of
that.
the
6 a.m. in Cambodia. It's ours.
Yeah, because we have fans in Cambodia.
That's right.
Yeah. And they own all the donut shops.
They do.
According to the documentary that Jim called me up one night.
Yeah,
Gotta
yeah.
watch this because
Yeah,
I've
it
been
was
curious why
about,
there's
what's
the
that?
Donut King.
Not Cambodia. It's not called Cambodia now. Was it Cambodia?
Yeah, it's
It's
Cambodia.
Cambodia. Are you thinking
Yeah.
of like Burma and Myanmar?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Cambodia, the guy,
the
Uncle
Khmer
Ted.
Rouge and all that.
Yeah, Pol Pot.
There was one comment on the Shart video that I almost included, but I thought it was really funny just on a video of a kid showing himself that goes, "This video is great. You, sir, have earned a subscriber."
More of this content, please.
All right.
Great.
That's it from Common World.
We got ads?
All right, well, let's see some ads.
We're doing ads.
Have we got ads?
We have ads.
All right.
Now.
Summer is all about savoring every moment. Whether you're hosting a backyard get-together or an impromptu gathering, ButcherBox helps you spend less time searching and also helps you spend less because they're reasonably priced. Helps you spend less time searching for high-quality meat so you can have more time for making memories, like the corners of my ButcherBox. Luckily, today's sponsor, ButcherBox, wants to celebrate you this summer. Right now, ButcherBox is offering new members 2 free No, wait a minute. Normally it's bacon or something. This can't be right. Lobster. No one's ever given away free. It says it here. They have to commit
It's
to this
true,
now. It's
yeah.
written on the page. They have to commit to it.
Yep.
2 free lobster tails and I was going to say
Oh, yeah, no, it's and, yeah.
It's and 2 free lobster tails and 2 free ribeyes in your first box. So you can share a high-quality surf and turf meal with friends or enjoy it by yourself if you're a lonely person or you hate your friends. The
I'm not ready to say if you eat it by yourself.
if you just you've got a big appetite.
Yeah.
You want to have 2 ribeyes
It's a lot of
and
options.
2 lobster tails, and you're just like, I'm gonna fuck those people. It's my food.
A lot of options.
The process is simple. Just sign up and choose your box and deliver frequency. They offer 4 curated box options and a custom box that lets you choose from your favorite cuts. ButcherBox then ships you your order frozen at the peak freshness and packed in an eco-friendly, 100% recyclable box. That means a lot to me. I don't like waste. I like the recyclable stuff. ButcherBox is offering our listeners 2 5-ounce lobster tails and 2 10-ounce ribeyes for free in your first box. You can't do better than that, people. You can only get this special deal when you sign up with a new membership at butcherbox.com/IDK. If you don't put the /IDK, no lobster and ribeye for you. Till you get it by listening to this podcast. You're welcome. That's butcherbox.com/IDK for free lobster tails and ribeyes in your first box. CBD. CBD.
Mm-hmm.
CBD.
It isn't about what you feel. It's about what you don't feel. Stress, anxiety, pain. And feels, F-E-A-L-S, is a better way to feel, F-E-E-L, better. Feels is a premium CBD that will help you keep your head clear and feel your best. It's hassle-free, direct delivery to your door. CBD naturally helps stress. Here we go. Stress. You need a bit of help. Helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. There's no hangover or addiction. Right, I'm a big fan of the CBD.
Yeah, I tried it. It was super relaxing. Didn't you say you tried it? And
I did. Yeah, it was awesome.
Passed out.
No, it is good though. I was like in a lot of pain. I think I played golf or something like that, and then and I took it and I felt better, and then I slept well.
It's nice.
You sleep well, and no hangover. How perfect is that? Place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember at CBD is that finding the right dose is important. And everyone's different. You got different size people, different aged people, and stuff like that.
Different
so you
level of
find
drug
what's
taking.
good. In fact, Feels offers a free CBD helpline to guide you through your personal experience so that you find your perfect dose. The Feels customer service team is dedicated to making sure you get the best use out of your CBD. Joining the Feels monthly membership makes your self-care easy, and you'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel at any time. Start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going on feels.com/IDK and you'll get 5% off your... Hang on, the bloody... Louise, you put 50% here.
No, it's 50%. I read it. Yeah.
What? You get 50%? Yep. Okay.
Can you believe it?
They got to do it.
Can you believe it?
It's written here.
It's not a typo.
50% off. Fucking hell. 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's Feels, FEALS.com/IDK for 50% off your first order. What are you waiting for?
Let's please welcome our guest to the podcast, Adam South.
G'day, Adam. Now it's time to play.
Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Judging a book by its cover.
All right. Look, he's a burly man. He's got a beard. He's got one of those John Deere hats on. It would involve some type of logging type of a thing, or some mechanical device that he fixes, or an animal that he knows a lot about and how to skin it and put it on your wall.
You're right.
Yeah, so it's one of those three things. Do you live in the East Coast of America?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well that's I'm already biased against those people with their stupid accents and their way of living. Like just pump your own fuel jersey for fuck's sake, having to get someone else to do it, or you get arrested or some shit.
That bothers you? Full service gas?
It bothers me that you're not given the option.
I think you are, right?
No, not in New Jersey.
No, in New Jersey, you got to have someone else pump your gas.
Oh,
Yeah.
I always thought there was.
And the problem is, it's a person from New Jersey, so you got to deal with that.
I think it's New Jersey and maybe Oregon or what. There's another state in there too, but yeah, I never got that.
Yeah, and and if you get out of the car, people look at you. No.
I
Get
like
the tip.
I think it's more expensive gas.
I never know where to tip for anything. I never know what I'm tipping for, and then it's like I always get like super stressed if someone grabs my bags. I'm like, don't do it because I don't know what I'm meant to pay you. And anything feels like too much. You only move them 10 meters.
Right.
All right. So you live on the East Coast. Are you involved in construction?
No.
No. Are you involved? Have you written books?
I've written a couple book chapters, but not any full books.
Get out of here, Adam.
Couple of romance novels.
You were on the right path with animals.
Are you a hunter?
I've hunted, but I'm not a hunter.
Right. That's not your main bag.
No.
Is the animal indigenous to America?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there's a lot of the type of animal that I'm an expert.
Oh, okay. Is it?
You hate this animal, probably.
I hate this animal too.
Oh, is it an insect?
It is an insect. Yes.
Is it an ant?
No.
Oh
Oh wow, that was being crazy.
That Jim had guessed that we might be doing ants right before we started this, so I think it was.
It's a way more annoying insect.
Okay, here's a hint that Adam gave to me. It said it's considered to be the deadliest animal in the world.
Whoa.
the deadliest animal in the world. See, it's gonna. You want to say spiders or snakes or something like that, but I heard the hippo kills more people, but there's no hippos on the East Coast.
No insect.
And-
hippos,
yeah.
And they're also an insect.
They cannot fly very well.
Fucking mosquitoes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mosquitoes.
There we go.
Yeah. They're the most deadly. They pass on the Zika and the bloody malaria and all that type of bullshit.
I'm assuming you hate them.
Pain in the ass, mosquitoes. But I'm sure that they serve a purpose in our world that we need to have them for some reason. But I can't see a reason.
Maybe.
I've never met anyone go, oh, well, everything will be okay once the mosquitoes come in.
Adam South got his PhD in biology with a focus in ecology, evolution, and behavior in 2012. He went on to be a research fellow at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health in the Department of Immunology and Infectious Disease for 5 years, where he switched his research focus to the reproductive ecology and evolution of the, is this Anopheles mosquitoes?
Yeah, Anopheles, yeah.
Currently, he's a research assistant professor in the Infectious Disease and Global Health Department at Tufts University. And then you can find him on Instagram at dr_Adam_South. And we'll put a link up here for something that you would like people to get involved with or go and check out. But it has nothing to do with mosquitoes. It's fireflies.
Right.
So maybe we'll talk to you about fireflies another time. But there is
Sure, love to.
there's a science project that Adam has co-created on firefly. You could say a little bit more about it and how you got into mosquitoes if you want right now. So.
Yeah, so I was in graduate school. I researched mosquitoes. So my main interests have always been in evolutionary biology, more specifically in its type of evolutionary biology that's called sexual selection. So in graduate school, I used a couple of different model systems, mostly beetles like fireflies, to make some discoveries about the root depth of ecology and elements of sex in insects. And so I had an opportunity to apply this knowledge base to insects of medical importance, like mosquitoes. So now my research is really very broadly geared towards understanding what we can about sex in mosquitoes in order to develop more effective ways of controlling mosquito populations beyond just using things like insecticides and bed nets. But I still work on fireflies as kind of a side project. So I've got a citizen science project that's been going since 2009, and it's one of the most successful ones in the world, actually, where people can log on and upload information about fireflies and their habitats, and we can learn about what we think is actually affecting them in terms of why their populations are declining dramatically.
You mentioned bed nets there. Is that okay? So if I put a bed net over my house, could I just stop mosquitoes? And then if that works, could we do a suburb, a city, a country, the world?
It's like the Simpsons dome.
Yeah.
The whole world.
I mean, theoretically, I guess you could put a bed net over whatever you wanted, but obviously that wouldn't be particularly efficient.
You put a big
Or
pole
practical.
on the North Pole.
But the mosquitoes are in the world.
I mean,
But once we kill those,
You just
no
trap
new
'em
ones.
in.
I assume they come from space.
It's true,
Oh,
they're
yeah, they-
aliens.
Yeah, they come from space and they come in. We keep them out that way.
yeah.
Good idea. All
I
right.
mean,
So,
most people just put bed nets around where they actually sleep.
But if I put it over my house, would that work? And would I suffocate or the bed net?
Sleeping under bed nets is actually really hot, as a matter of fact. So I think it would be a little difficult. But if you had, AC in your house,
Yeah, no problem. All right, well, we've solved that.
Jack, find a giant bed net for Jim's house,
Get on
please.
Well, they don't make them, Jack. You'll have to get
We'll
a
have to go to
whole
a
lot of
seamstress,
small bed nets. And
all
sew
right.
them all together.
So go to Adam South's Instagram, dr_Adam_South. And there's a link to that project in there as well. So I'm going to ask Jim questions about mosquitoes, see what he knows. And when we're done, you're going to grade him on accuracy, 0 through 10, 10 being the best. Kelly's going to grade him on confidence. I'm going to grade him on et cetera. We're going to add those together. Kelly made these categories. 21 through 30, blood-sucking bitch. 11 through 20, blood-sucking bitch. 0 through 10, blood-sucking bitch. I don't know you can call a mosquito a bitch, but, I think it works.
Yeah.
Screw him.
All right,
I call them bitches.
I call them bitches too.
All right. Expert says it's okay.
Yeah.
Jim, what are mosquitoes?
They're an insect. They're a bug that bites you. They like to hang around dank water.
Dang.
Yeah, they seem
Sweet.
They seem to. They're pretty much. I don't know if there's a play. I assume they're not on the North Pole or the South Pole. I've never seen one in the snow. They like swampiness. There's probably more than one breed of them. There's probably a whole fucking variety of the cunts.
We'll get to that. Yeah. So warm weather, you think? More than
They like warm weather. They like warm weather.
And like, how long they've been around? You think?
Oh, I reckon they were bothering dinosaurs, weren't they? So they, if Jurassic Park taught us anything, that there was mosquitoes drew blood from dinosaurs and they got put into sap or molten lava or some shit. No, sap. I think it's sap.
Tree sap.
Yeah, tree sap, and then they made the end of a cane. The mosquitoes have been around like millions of years.
Millions, yeah. So how many species of mosquito are there? You said there was a lot, but
probably over the course of those million years, probably been thousands. But in our current state, we've probably got 50 different types of mosquitoes.
Okay. Do both sexes of mosquitoes bite humans? One of those questions where you're like,
I'm gonna say that the females bite. And they probably fucking eat their husbands after they have sex or some shit. some evil cunts they are. They're fucking
bitches.
Yeah.
Do they have teeth, or how do they bite?
They have a prong that goes into you. They have one big tooth.
Yeah, one big tooth. And then what do they do with the tooth?
It's like a tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tube. It's like a trunk of an elephant, but it's stiff and it can pierce the body.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
And
actually.
they shove it in the body and they suck up blood.
Okay.
So rude.
What attracts mosquitoes to a host?
I think it's got to do, there'd be pheromones or something like that, because I know definitely my son seems to attract them really easily. And I dated a girl for a while and she used to get bitten all the time and I never really gotten bitten. And then I have certain seasons where all of a sudden I get bitten and then I'm good for a couple of years. So there must be something to do with your sweat and pheromones and all that type of stuff that attracts the mosquitoes. So it was smell.
And what sort of diseases do they transmit?
Zika was the one they had. That was the big one for a while. Zika's out of fashion right now. Malaria, I reckon they'd probably have their fist in. Like, I know it's not the main way, but I reckon they'd have something to do with Ebola. They didn't do the Black Plague. That was rats. So I'm not going to say they don't do the Black Plague. I don't believe they did smallpox. I'm sure they, many different things, but the big one, malaria, is the big one.
Okay. And we'll talk about maybe how many people die from that after that. So when we talk to Adam, what do they eat?
Blood, man. Blood.
They just survive on blood?
What more do you need?
Well, you said the females are the only ones that bite. So what do the males survive on?
No, the males, they probably only live for a few days, and the males, he just starves the whole time. And
well, yeah, how long do they live?
He does. You want to meet my wife? She can't cook. does gags like that. Fucking blood sucking bitch. Can't fucking cook. I'm out all day toiling in the fields or whatever they do.
So how long do they live?
3 days.
3 days. Okay. And then how do they reproduce?
I believe that there'd be a larva. So flies and maggots become flies, and they make a larva. And I imagine there'd be small larvas that make up a mosquito, small little bugs, like not like maggots, but little tiny maggots that would become mosquitoes. I may be way out on that, but I don't believe they give birth and one of them's pregnant flying around. There'd be a something. You know, I always look at like, I don't know if they do the same as flies, but flies vomit on your food so that the food gets digested and then they eat the vomit back is how they do something, right? And I learned that off the movie The Fly, and also when you're a kid growing up in Australia, when a fly lands on your steaks, people, you just vomited on your steak. So I assume there's probably some vomit and acid that comes out of them as well to get the blood.
All right, here's a couple of questions. How far and fast can they fly, and how much do they weigh? There's a lot of questions, but how far and fast?
I reckon they would weigh 1/100th of a gram, whatever that fucking measurement is.
Okay.
And I reckon they can fly miles in it. I reckon they can fly 5 miles in a day. So yeah, I reckon. But then they say, like during Zika, they go, the mosquitoes are coming up to Florida from South America, and that's how the Zika was being treated because people were in Miami and it was bad for pregnant women to get Zika. And so that's a long way. And if I'm saying they only live for 3 days a week, so I'm going to say they can fly fucking 50 miles a day. They've got 3 days in them, and that's their fucking journey.
Okay, you said they like water, so I'm not going to ask that question. What would happen if they went extinct?
Parades. Fucking people would be happy. Yeah, that's what I assume. Okay, so what would we lose out on? We'd have we wouldn't have any malaria, but I bet you there's some type of pollination-y type thing that we'd be missing out on. Maybe I don't know. I just assume everyone would be happy. I can't think of a good thing that mosquitoes do, but I assume there is one, but I can't think of one.
Okay. And when are they most active?
Summer. Oh, what do you mean, like 6 p.m. or something like that?
Whatever answer you want to get.
I want to say the most active from 4 till 7. When dusk, twilight, they like to come out and get you.
We talked a little about control methods. We'll talk about why there's a lot of mosquitoes in California now. Why is that?
It's because Joe Rogan left. And before,
wait, they were afraid of him?
Before that, they were scared, right? You'd choke him out or some shit. and then they were like, Joe Rogan's not there anymore. And now all the ones from Austin have moved over here.
Oh my God, it keeps getting worse.
Yeah. Austin mosquitoes now.
All right, we'll ask this other question when we get into it. All right, Adam. 0 through 10, 10 being the best. How did Jim do on his accuracy about his knowledge of mosquitoes?
That was really impressive.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Having heard all the podcasts, I'd have to give Jim an 8.5 probably.
All right.
Wow, that's pretty big.
That was excellent.
That might be one of your highest scores.
I know my shit about mosquitoes.
I think so.
Dank water.
Dank.
They're high as shit, man.
What did dank? We use the word dank, right?
No, I know, but it's just
dank
funny.
I
think it's a good description. It's just funny.
I just always think weed.
Yeah, it's dank, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a 10 for dank.
Dank, a 10 for unconfidence.
For dank, yeah.
It doesn't really matter what I give Jim because he's a blood-sucking bitch no matter what. So, et cetera, it's whatever you want it to be, Jim. So,
all right, I'll just take the win.
Okay. So, what are mosquitoes? Jim said they like to hang around dank water. Not on the North Pole or the South Pole, not in the snow. Like they like swampiness, and they're insects that bite you. It's pretty good.
That's perfect. I mean, they are insects. Technically speaking, they're flies, which you actually mentioned flies and maggots and stuff like that. Although the way that they breed is a little bit different. So from what I understand, actually, mosquito is Spanish for little fly. I think that's true. I don't know, but Luis.
Yeah, a little bit. Mosquito. You see how when I say it, mosquito.
What is the bits of that word that you recognize?
Well, because mosca is fly.
Yeah.
Ito,
right.
Yeah.
And mosquito is what?
No, but ito is like it's the diminutive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mosca is fly. Ito is little.
Ito means little, so you would like Jimito.
I never even put that together though. Because in Spanish, it's mosquito.
Wow. So. Everybody learns something here, and I don't know about that.
All right. Confirmed.
I like that. I like that you're surprised that you haven't put that together. like that was a thing in your life where you go, how have I wasted my time?
All right.
Probably the most important characteristic, as Jim pointed out, is the fact that the females, as he was right about that, the females take blood. mammals and also from lizards and birds and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can pierce because they seem to be able to if they could have bitten dinosaurs, and I've seen them on top of fucking elephants. Can they pierce any skin, or is there a skin where they're like can't do crocodiles?
I don't know if it's any skin, but they're proboscis, which is the word that you were looking for. I think you said like tube or whatever it was. Prong.
I guarantee you, he was not looking for that word.
It's specialized to be able to penetrate in between any kind of epidermal cells, so they can find a very small gap, whether it's a scale, whether it's a feather, or
so like if you have like a blackhead or something like that, they can see a hole and go for it, or what do you mean they can? They're going through your pores rather than going through the actual skin.
They're not going through your pores, so they're actually finding spaces in between the cells of your skin. And what they have is they actually have this tube, which is actually, it's like a small needle. It's actually composed of 6 smaller needles. 2 of them have these like teeth-like edges where they kind of saw through your skin. Then they have 2 other ones that act as kind of spreaders, so they insert them in between the cells and keep them spread apart. Then they have 2 other ones that have specialized receptors to be able to pick up on compounds in your blood. And so they use those to kind of hone in on where the blood actually is. And they're also then injecting you with a paralyzing saliva, which is why you can't actually feel it. And so then they use that to then suck the blood out. And it's actually the mosquito saliva that they put inside of you that is actually what makes you react to mosquito bites.
And why do some people react more to mosquito bites than others?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's probably just like any other kind of foreign thing that goes into your body. Different people have different kinds of allergic responses. I mean, it is technically some kind of allergic response, but I don't get any kind of reaction from mosquito bites.
I'm terribly allergic. Like I get full on welts. I've had to go to urgent care once because I couldn't breathe. So they just turn into like softball size welts.
So
as
I said, my son gets big bites from mosquitoes. Is that just that he's allergic and I get as many bites as he does and I just don't feel them?
So it probably has something to do with his immune system and the fact that your immune system is a little more advanced. And the fact that you grew up in Australia probably really helps too, because you've been exposed to a variety of different kinds of things. Yes, exactly. So it's really variable. I mean, I used to blood feed mosquitoes on me for different kind of experiments, and I would have,
that seems like a nightmare.
200 of them biting me here at once, and the bites would be gone in like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, but what he hasn't told you is his real name's Sharon and he's a 17-year-old girl. And what's happened is he was about 80 pounds and he's really swelled up.
What is blood feeding? Why do you even throw that in the conversation like we know what you're talking about?
It says what it does on the tin. He's feeding him blood from his body.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to work with the species of mosquitoes in the lab, you have to rear them. And so in order to get what we're jumping ahead, but females take a blood meal in order to get the kind of nutrients that they need to lay eggs. And so you have to, if you want to rear them, you have to buy human blood, which is very, very expensive. Or if you have kind of a smaller cage, then you just stick them. Yeah. You just stick your hand in the cage or put your arm over it and just let them feed on you.
So, this is okay. So there used to be an ad in Australia for Aerogard, right? And Aerogard, you call it Aerogard.
I don't know that.
Aerogard is fly spray or bug.
Off, we call it here.
Yeah. They call it Aerogard. Yeah. And so the guy put his hand in a thing of mosquitoes and nothing bit him. Then they all bit him and then he sprayed it with Aerogard and he put it in. So you've got so you've got the sprays, you've got the zapper, the zap, the zzz, like that. And then you got the every time I watch Hoarders, there's someone who has that weird American thing where it's a bit of tape hanging from the fucking roof. I'd rather just have the flies and mosquitoes. What is that curly tape? And what is the chemical that attracts the mosquitoes and flies to this thing? Or detracts them in the thing of the spray?
I don't actually know what the I think that's called fly tape.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's like more.
You'd be
more
better off
specific
having
for
flies. There's
houseflies.
nothing more ghetto than a fucking string of tape hanging off your roof
Dead animals.
that's covered with dead animals. Like, I don't know.
It's horrible.
I've never seen
Yeah.
that.
So I don't know if that works for mosquitoes, to be honest with you. I've never thought about it. But in terms of traps, I mean, people try to create traps based upon carbon dioxide, since that's one of the main things that mosquitoes hone in on. People try to create sugar traps. So jumping ahead, adult mosquitoes eat sugar. I mean, males only eat sugar and nectar and things like that, and females also eat a nectar. So people try to create these kind of toxic sugar baited traps. But I mean, there's been billions of dollars spent to try to develop more effective ways to keep mosquitoes from people. And there's such a incredibly well-evolved animal that it's almost impossible to keep mosquitoes from you unless you use something very, very toxic, like DEET, for instance. Like DEET is very, very effective.
But that's really bad for us too, right?
Yeah, DEET is not
That's probably what was in that product, Jim.
Yeah.
DEET, because that's what they put in the stuff here off and whatever that. Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that answers the question that they eat more than just blood. And that would bring us to the next question, which is what would happen if they all leave? I'm going to assume there's some pollination now.
Yeah. So first off, if all mosquitoes went extinct, we're talking about 3,500 species of mosquito.
Oh, so more than 50.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah. But you are correct in that they occur. They don't occur in the North Pole. They don't occur on Antarctica either. But they're just everywhere. So there's only a very small subset of mosquitoes that are considered to be medically important. So the ones that actually bite humans and actually transmit some kind of infectious disease. And so if we got rid of all of them, I think that would probably be a sort of an ecological disaster. So there are really critical points of the food chain for both aquatic and terrestrial systems. So the females lay eggs in the water, and then there are larval stages. And so those larvae in the water are critical for fish and for other kind of aquatic systems. And then in terms of terrestrial systems, they're really important for bats, dragonflies, things like that. So if they were all just gone,
who would be bad. Dragonflies, though. I feel like you're naming a whole lot of animals that I'm not that keen on.
Bats
anyway.
haven't done great things.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying that I would defend,
but it's a food chain.
But
so you like you like to
eat
fish. Then other things will eat the dragonflies, like birds and and so on. And then you get to the animals that you like. So
the hope is that there's a lot of efforts that are pinpointed towards eradicating just the few mosquito species that actually transmit infectious diseases. So the hope is that if you eliminated them, or at least reduce them a lot, then other kinds of species that don't actually bite humans or don't vector any kind of disease, they would just take the place of those mosquitoes in the food chain, and it wouldn't actually matter at all.
So you just eliminate the bad mosquitoes.
Didn't something just happen in Florida where they dumped a bunch of like bioengineered mosquitoes to try to eradicate something?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that really quickly? Because it's affected California too, obviously.
Yeah, sure. So the mosquito that Jack's talking about is called Aedes aegypti. And this is the species that vectors Zika, it vectors yellow fever, it vectors dengue fever. It also will do chikungunya virus, and it's a huge issue, and it's spreading across the world very, very fast. So in the last decade, it's spread across much of Europe. It's in California now as well. So there's a company called Oxitec, which is from Oxford, and they have created lines of genetically modified male mosquitoes, in which what they've done is they've inserted genes that when those genes are expressed, it effectively kills the mosquito, right? And so they rear tens of millions of these genetically modified males, and they give them a antidote while they're in the actual lab, so the gene isn't actually expressed. So then they release these tens of millions of males. They mate with wild type female mosquitoes. They pass on that lethal gene. And since there's no antidote in the natural environment, that lethal gene gets expressed and all the mosquitoes die.
Right.
Wow.
And then in California now, Google, or a subsidiary of Google called Verily, they have a different kind of approach where they're again working with the Aedes aegypti mosquito. And what they are effectively doing is again rearing tens and tens of millions of males that are basically sterile. And so they release these sterile males. They mate with the wild type female mosquitoes. And then because female mosquitoes only mate a single time, they have taken now sperm from males that are effectively sterile. And so when they lay eggs, the eggs don't actually hatch. And this is something that was actually pioneered in Australia, actually, about a decade ago.
Right.
And it's proven to be very, very effective at reducing populations of mosquitoes that actually vector these horrible infectious.
So if we have too many mosquitoes, that's when the infectious happens, or is it like? So what's a good amount of mosquitoes versus a bad amount of mosquitoes?
I mean, it's a specific kind, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it just depends. So Aedes aegypti, and then one of their sister species, Aedes albopictus, are ones that are able to actually harbor these different kinds of viral agents. And actually,
I just stop you for a second. We've done a lot of podcasts, and every time I got a prescription the other day. What is it with fucking scientists and having to make everything a difficult fucking name and having Latin in there and all that type of stuff? Like, I had a report from the doctor the other day, and I tried to Google a thing. I had to go back and forth and check the word because it was fucking 15 fucking letters. Why can't you just call one breed of the mosquitoes Dave and another one Peter? And stuff like that. Do it like fucking. I got to give it up for the hurricanes and the tornadoes. They don't fuck around with these long fucking Hurricanus Octimus, fucking whatever they want to call it, right? They just call it Sharon, right? Why do you do that?
I got you.
Not you personally. You're just part of the system.
I know
it's my fault.
I know it's not your fault. You're already in the fucking machine and you can't turn back. But
you think there's enough names because there's so many animals.
You can make up words. You can
you have to.
Yeah, but that's what you're doing now.
No, but you're making up big words. You're going like this. Just there's 3-letter words that haven't been fucking invented yet. I'll give you one right now. PTS. Oh no, PTS has been used. OMG. No, fuck.
LOL.
No, there'll be something. Just 3 L's.
Well, how do you say that?
Well, in Welsh, you go like that. That makes a noise in Welsh.
And what's an L? What's 3 L's? What animal?
It's just one of the flies. That's the Zika carrying fly. Mosquito.
Thought it'd be an elephant, but okay.
Anyway.
I mean, I can actually answer that if you
Yeah, sure. What is the 3L animal?
So if you think about it, right? So if you've got 3,500 species of mosquito, you have to be able to give them some kind of unique name so you know what it is that you're actually talking about, right? So you have the
Mosquito
the
1, Mosquito 2, Mosquito 3.
I mean, it's known as like the Asian tiger mosquito, but then there's like name. 20 different ones that are called Asian tiger mosquito. And so when you're talking about specifics, because as you remember from Richard Dawkins, of course, the definition of a species.
Yeah, I didn't remember anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you have to know what the actual species is, right? And you have to know in the case of mosquitoes, there's so much work that's being done on mosquito genomics now. You have to make sure you have the exact right species to be able to know whether or not what you're doing is actually valid. So I know it's really annoying, and I get really annoyed about it as well. And it's probably a bit of a mental masturbation on the part of us the scientists. Too,
I'm not that annoyed by it. It's not keeping me up at night. It just annoyed me in this one little moment, and I'll forget about it soon.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
And to bring it up next time it happens.
But I tell you what, Asian tiger mosquito, that'll stick with me forever.
All right,
I'll know that name for fucking ever. That'll always be in my head. You test me on that later, Jake.
Okay.
But the other, I've already forgotten the other names. I couldn't even fake them right now.
Archaeopteryx?
All right.
Archaeopteryx.
Sounds like Aedes aegypti, Archaeopteryx, yeah.
Were they around during dinosaurs? Jim said, yeah. Jurassic Park taught us anything, yes.
Yes, that's very, very true. So the thought is that things that are like mosquito-like ancestors probably evolved about 200 million to 150 million years ago, which would have been during the Jurassic and the Cretaceous periods. And so they absolutely coexisted with dinosaurs. And Jim is actually very much true as well, that you can find fossilized remains of mosquitoes, some of them in amber. I think that's what you were looking for, right? Yeah. That was the stuff. So there's like a 100 million year old fossilized mosquito in amber that was found in Burma recently. There's also been ones that have been found in like shale in Montana, I think. And they actually have blood in them. However, the DNA is so broken down that you can't actually extract DNA from it and do the.
I believe when we find other life forms, when we find aliens for the first time, and I do believe we will find it, maybe not in my lifetime, but it will happen. I believe that we always think we're going to find some fucking big moon-eyed fucking little gray alien that has a spaceship and all that stuff. I reckon the first aliens we find are going to be fucking mosquitoes or something very close to mosquitoes, because we'll go to the first planet because we found a planet with water that's only so many light years away. We found one with water. I reckon if there's water, there's fucking mosquitoes. No doubt in my mind. We'll go there and that'll be like, we've found aliens, and just be like more of these fucking pests.
Like Starship Troopers?
Yeah, not going to be big ones. Just little tiny, there'll be little bugs will be what we find first. There'll be little life forms that are just, because okay, so could I argue that a mosquito is not an intelligent animal? It's dumb. It's just focused on blood sucking. Like it's a purpose-built animal. It doesn't critically think or anything like that?
No, it's just, I mean, they have what you would call a brain, which is really just a sort of a cluster of neurons, but they're just responding to different kind of stimuli. They're not smart. They can't really think the way that, we can.
And how many mosquitoes do we have on the earth at any given time?
Oh, holy shit. I don't know.
Stumped them.
You don't want to know.
50 trillion? I don't know.
And they say that we're ruining the fucking planet.
But there's more beetles than there are anything else. So if you were to go to another planet and think about aliens, it's probably more likely it would be beetles, actually.
Yeah, that's where John and George went.
The music's really good on that planet.
I was looking. There's a Hulu documentary about Paul McCartney where he's chatting to Rick Rubin, and it's like 6 episodes or something. I was watching it this morning, and then they were talking about George Harrison dying, and I was like, oh, that was sad when he died. And then he was fucking 56. I'm getting close to George Harrison death age. Like, it just spun me out. No, completely off topic, but I thought he was like way older. I thought he was like 70. Lung cancer at 56. Fuck me.
And then he got stabbed a bunch in his house.
He got stabbed once in his house. I don't think it was a bunch. I don't think it was every day he got stabbed. There was one.
He got stabbed a bunch at once.
He stabbed him multiple times at the one.
I don't think he got stabbed every day.
At the one sitting. Like, if he went back every day and he got stabbed all the time, sooner or later he's like, I better call ADT. I got to put some type of fucking device on here. And
a lock, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you don't want to watch is the Jimi Hendrix documentary. He died really young.
Yeah, but he died drug overdose. He didn't die of fucking lung cancer or anything like that I could plausibly get, I could die of a drug overdose, but I think I'm past those days.
I think
so. I
don't think that day's coming to me anytime soon where they just, unless it was on purpose.
Do both sexes bite? You already said the females are the only ones that bite and suck blood.
Mm-hmm.
There's some digs at Jack in this document, and some like a lot of the stuff that he wrote.
Why? What did I do?
Yeah. Sorry, Jack. I
he said Jack looks like Dave Grohl if he was bitten by 1,000 mosquitoes.
It's in this document. This is one of his answers.
What the fuck?
True fan of the podcast.
Thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
And you're the only guest who's really answered all the questions in the outline. I mean, you put work into this. Good work.
You really outdid yourself. Do mosquitoes have teeth? Jim said no. The proboscis, we went over that. Microneedle.
Yep.
And so, what attracts mosquitoes to a host? You said carbon dioxide. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one. So mosquitoes, like I said, it's one of the reasons why it's so hard to keep mosquitoes from attacking people is because they can use what it's called a multiple cue-based system. So they can do smell, which Jim said. They have a very, very finely evolved sense of smell. So they can pick up on carbon dioxide that's coming out of your breath.
Damn.
They can also pick up on like carboxylic acid and other kind of alcohol compounds that you're breathing out. So breath is really huge. They can also sense heat. They can also sense movement. So if you take away one, I mean, they're incredible. I mean, so if you block, 2 or 3 of a female mosquito senses, she can still find you.
Right.
I mean,
so they'd still, even though with heat, they'd still go after a dead body, right?
They wouldn't go after a dead body. So
I've seen them around like dead animals, right? Oh, that's flies around dead animals.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are probably stupid males that are waiting for a female to come around, which is one of the ways that males mate.
Hang around dead bodies,
animals, and then they just try to grab them. So yeah,
must be some good chicks.
I mean, heat is important. I mean, obviously, a dead animal also smells. So they really pick up on smells. But most of what they do is they look for things that are obviously indicative of some kind of a live animal, because they want the blood.
What's their vision like? I imagine it's like just shadows and shit, or is it good? Is it like 360 like a fly? Or?
It's not as good. So their olfactory sense is definitely their best, but they can pick up on movement. They can pick up on like blocking changes in a color. So there was a study that came out last year where people actually tethered mosquitoes and they hooked up electrodes to their brains, and they actually measured the amount of neuronal activity, exposing them to things like carbon dioxide and movement and different kinds of images. And so they found that there is, a marked increase in this kind of activity, and their wings also beat much, much faster. So there's almost this instantaneous connection between I see something that means blood, and then they start to then just gravitate towards it immediately. They're an incredibly well-evolved species.
How long do they live for? I feel like my 3 days was way out now.
It's a little off, yeah.
Okay, so how long?
So they start off as eggs. So going from egg to adult takes about 7 to 10 days, depending upon things like the environmental conditions, the species, and whatever. But they can exist as adults in an optimal sense for weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months. I mean, as long as they have enough food and they don't get eaten, they can live for a fairly long period of time. Most of them in the field don't, because obviously they're living in much more harsh conditions, or they don't have access to as much food as they actually need, or whatever else. But they have the potential to live for several weeks, if not several months. Again, depending upon the actual species.
And how far do they travel in a day?
So mosquitoes can fly about 1 meter per second. According to the CDC, Culex mosquitoes, which are the main ones that we have here that we're really worried about, they can travel in a range of about 2 miles. But there's other anecdotal evidence that they can go much, much further. And one of my colleagues at the NIH has found that mosquitoes actually use long distance migration patterns where they go like 400 meters up in the air, and they get carried by wind anywhere from 100 to 300 kilometers in like 9 hours.
Dang.
Right. And so, but were they, okay, so was I correct about saying, like with Zika and everyone was going Miami, they were coming up from South America or Cuba or something like that? Was that true, or what? Because it feels like they couldn't fly that far, or like, do they sleep? Do they stop and sleep, or they just keep flying all day and they can sleep while they fly? Or
I mean, theoretically, one could fly, multiple days, really, really far, but it's not really about. And in that case, it's not about an individual species range, or sorry, an individual mosquito's range. It's about the entire species, right? And also the species that are actually infected with the actual virus. So whenever there's overlap in some kind of infected population, that can then spread to another infected population, and it keeps spreading in that way, right? So one individual mosquito is not going to travel from Brazil to Miami. However, there's a gradual shift in the makeup of the population in terms of the actual percent that are really infected, and that is going to travel across land masses.
Well, like a domino thing. So one infects the next.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a huge issue. So mosquito scientists are really, really worried about how things are actually spreading, and so with climate change happening, the sort of ranges of these mosquitoes are expanding greatly. So, we're going to be faced. So we have the actual species that can vector things like, yellow fever, dengue fever, Zika that are actually here. I mean, they are where you guys are now. The problem, not the problem, what is good is that the actual viral agents are not there yet, right? So, but if there was someone that wanted to actually bring in a whole bunch of infected mosquitoes and release them in LA, there could be some kind of outbreak of Zika.
So let's say malaria, which is the most common, correct? Malaria is the most common? Okay. So let's say with malaria, do the mosquitoes just carry malaria, or do they give us malaria and then another mosquito has to bite you to get malaria to give to another person? And if that's the case, who had malaria first?
That's exactly it. So malaria is a little bit different. So that's not viral. So that's caused by something called Plasmodium. And so that is something that is definitely did not evolve in humans. It evolves in other, probably reptiles first. And so we have, reptilian malaria. We have malaria that's specific for birds. There's malaria that was specific for our great ape ancestors first. So the way that works is that it has an entire life cycle inside of a mosquito. So a mosquito bites some kind of infected person. That Plasmodium parasite then grows inside of its mid gut. Then it travels to the salivary glands, and then whenever it bites anything, in addition to injecting that saliva that I told you about, it's also then injecting that Plasmodium parasite now in the actual human form. And so then it then goes through a whole series of life cycles in the human. It's in the liver, it's in the blood cells. And then a naive mosquito would then bite an infected human and then start that cycle over and over again.
Right. So lizards.
If I have a hypothetical.
Yes.
If your blood alcohol content was high enough and a mosquito sucked your blood, would it kill them?
I think that would be a fun experiment to do.
Because
I don't actually know.
I'll just be wasted every night if that's what I have to do.
I mean,
for the greater good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of work done about alcohol in the blood. I think I sent you guys a link to a paper that showed that people that drink actually are more attractive to mosquitoes than people that aren't.
Only weed.
Yeah. So also, there's been some work done about whether or not mosquitoes are more or less likely to go to people that are diabetic or not. So, but it's also, I mean, there's so much contra. There's papers say different things all the time. So there's not really any kind of consensus about that. I wish there was, but
yeah.
But there's not.
And they are the most deadly species. So we've said that at the beginning, right? That's just to make that clear.
Yeah. So
how many people they kill a year?
800,000 total, probably. Yeah.
It's not COVID numbers.
It's no, it's not, but it happens year in and year out. And the other
you don't think that COVID's going to happen year in, year out? You don't think this is the new norm? I think we're going to get fucking Delta, and then it's going to be Echo, and then it's going to be whatever the next letter in the alphabet is.
Yeah. I mean, so just taking malaria in general, right? So in 2019, I think there were 219. Wait a minute, I had this written down. Sorry, give me a second. I don't want to fuck this up. I think 2019. Damn it, where is it?
Doesn't matter if you fuck it up. No one knows.
2019, there were 229 million new cases of malaria, 409,000 people dying, which is a huge drop from where it used to be. So it used to be well over 1 million people dying a year, and about 90% of those or more are happening in sub-Saharan Africa.
They've got to work on that malaria tablets, because every time I travel to somewhere that might have malaria, and it's like they go, you probably should take some malaria tablets. And I go, right before I get on the plane, I'm like, I'll get on that. And I go, can I have some malaria tablets? They go, start taking it 6 weeks before your flight. Yeah. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm getting malaria. They need a quicker malaria. This fucking 6-week thing isn't fucking cutting it for me. It might be small. It might be 2 weeks or something
like that.
But it's never ready for me. I'm fucking always late to the malaria table.
Yeah, there used to be one that you could start taking the day beforehand, but I think it induced a bunch of like psychotic episodes in people and things like that.
Ooh,
so,
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
What are you on? Malaria pills.
Malaria probably won't
They've
kill
worked
you
on a
as, like,
malaria vaccine. Malaria vaccine is that?
There's been probably $100 billion spent on that, and nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Good luck getting people to take it. If it does
in terms of mosquito-borne disease that kills the most people, malaria is really, really big. I mean, the thing that's crazy is that over half of the world's population is at risk of being infected with malaria every single year.
And is malaria a one strain thing, or is it a multiple strain thing that, like the flu or whatever, that evolves every year?
So, I mean, there's certainly variants of different kinds of Plasmodium species. But in general, you know, it's not as it doesn't mutate as much as you would see in something like the flu or something like a virus. It doesn't mutate as fast as you would get.
All right. So, and all right, moving on. Mosquitoes have sex. I don't know if we talked about it.
Yes.
Yeah, they got to impregnate.
Yeah, but I mean,
do you want to read the rest of the No, just
no.
So mosquitoes are sexual, and their ecology is actually really fascinating. So the way that the most medically important species mate is they actually swarm. So males form these like swarms of anywhere from like 20 to like 5,000 males right around dusk. And so these males are just kind of swarming around, and then gradually females enter into the swarm, and they actually mate. The physics of mating is actually really amazing. So they actually mate while they're flying. You know, so it's pretty incredible. So they mate for about anywhere from 17 to 30 seconds, about, you know, and
same as humans.
Damn, pretty long.
And it's consensual.
It is consensual.
Well, if she didn't want to get fucked, she shouldn't fly into the swarm of 5,000 men, right?
What do you expect when you go into the swarm?
Don't victim blame her.
Buzzing around in that outfit.
This is one of the elements of sexual selection that I really like and I research a lot. So this is a species in which there's a lot of very extreme female choice. So if a female is going to mate only a single time, right? So her entire fitness is wrapped up in this one single mating. She has to make a really good choice of a male, right? Mm-hmm. So females are relatively selective. Males can mate multiple times, you know, but the female just gets one shot at it, and that's it.
And what is she looking for in terms of quality? Is there like, because he would produce a better larva, or like, is he going to be a deadbeat dad? Like, what are they looking for?
That's an excellent question. Well, first off, all mosquito males are deadbeat dads.
Fucking
pieces of shit.
So she's definitely looking. I mean, that's actually a very active area of research now, and that's something that I'm actually working on. We don't really know a lot about what it is that makes a male mosquito attractive to a female mosquito. Huh. I have some. Yeah.
Here's one for you. I never see one just sitting down unless it's on my body. Do they ever just sit down for a bit,
think, relax?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and where do they do that?
Mosquitoes. That's another actually very interesting area of active research. So nobody knows where mosquitoes go during the day at all. We have no idea.
All right.
You know, if we actually knew, that would be great. So then we could actually target the areas where they are and then kill them.
Why don't you just follow them?
How?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're the mosquito expert.
So was I correct with Twilight? It feels like Twilight.
Yeah. So typically speaking, mosquitoes are most active between dusk and dawn. Although now there's been a lot of evidence that mosquitoes are evolving around some of the control mechanisms that the humans have, and they're actually becoming much more aggressive biters during the day, like the species that you guys have there. The Asian tiger mosquito, I won't use the scientific name. They're actually becoming much more aggressive daytime biters, because that's the best time to find blood, right? So mosquitoes evolve incredibly fast, and that's one of the reasons why it's been really hard to fight against them. Is because the rapidity at which they go through their generation time means that they can evolve very fast. So, you know, people have been employing insecticides against mosquitoes for decades, But the reality is that mosquitoes have evolved ways to detoxify those insecticides within only a few years, and they're virtually harmless to mosquitoes now, which is really troubling.
All right. We covered.
I feel like I missed something, but
I'm looking through. We covered how far they fly.
Yeah.
They're attracted to water. We talked about that.
Yep.
What would happen if they went extinct? We talked about. What I guess maybe we could ask this because we didn't talk about this. Is no mosquitoes at Disneyland? Maybe you can tell us that, and then we'll get to some of the.
No mosquitoes at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So this is actually really interesting. So Walt Disney, I mean, obviously he bought this enormous swath of land in the middle of Florida.
And it's swampland as well. It should be mosquito heaven.
Exactly.
But I know why, because mosquitoes are afraid of mice.
Mm.
And there's large mice are the worst of them all.
That works.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the U.S. has a very interesting history with mosquitoes, and because there used to be a lot of malaria in the south part of the United States.
Yeah.
And we
that?
eliminated it. Why did we? Oh. Yeah. So Walt Disney hired a guy that used to be a U.S. Army Major General that worked in Panama. So he worked at the Panama Canal, which they dealt with mosquitoes all the time. So he was basically this expert, and so he hired him on the spot when he first met him to organize the entire Disneyland experience in order to minimize mosquitoes being present. And the best way that you can keep mosquitoes from being where you are is to eliminate dank water, as Jim called it, right? So there's actually no standing water anywhere in Disneyland. And they've actually even designed the buildings such that no water will actually pool anywhere.
What the fucking riverboat cruise is in dank water?
Well, there should be still movement of water there, but they also then made sure that all of those bodies of water were exclusively stocked with fish that only eat, not only, but chiefly eat mosquito larvae. There's
fish in the fucking riverboat cruise.
Damn.
I would assume so, yeah. Or else
they eat the larva.
They just move that water
swimming
along,
around the electronic fucking things that pop out and all that. There's fish there.
Yeah,
or else they treat the water sufficiently that no mosquito eggs or larvae could actually live.
I don't think anybody can drink that water. No animal on earth can live and drink that water.
Drink that water. No fucking way. Absolutely not. Yeah. And they also, so this is more in this sort of historical perspective. So they had all these different kinds of design elements. They made sure that there was only running water. So female mosquitoes can't lay eggs in running water at all. It just doesn't work.
It's a small world after all. That water looks dank as fuck in a small world.
That water would kill anything.
Probably just chlorine in that. Yeah.
And people,
do they not like chlorinated water? Because I feel like there's sometimes mosquitoes over my pool, but do they not like chlorinated water?
They don't like chlorinated water. And as long as you keep that water at, keep the chemistry of that correct, then there should be no mosquito species that's able to lay eggs in there, unless it's some like crazy lab generated strain.
Did you know that
Wuhan
bees like pool water that's been pissed in?
I do know that. Ted McFall, right?
Yeah. The pool,
I remember.
A historian.
I scooped out 4 bees the other day, and I looked at my son like, I don't know what you're up to.
Yeah. I'm not pissing in this one.
As you're peeing in the pool.
So the guy that he hired also used to spray garlic extract everywhere. I don't know if that actually works, but that's supposed to do something to keep away mosquitoes. But now I've heard that they use like traps, like carbon dioxide traps. They probably use sugar traps. Wow. They have these sentinel chickens. So they have chickens in places. And so the idea is that these chickens serve as a monitor system. So
wait.
Chickens.
What do you mean sentinel? I've been to Disney. I've never seen a fucking chicken.
No.
That's where all the chickens go.
You wouldn't see that. So they keep chickens in like behind the scenes in like coops or cages, and they monitor.
I should put it on the Indiana Jones ride. For like when you're in a plane, just have a chicken flying around.
Yeah. But they monitor the blood of those chickens to see if there's any mosquito-borne infectious disease there, right? So they screen them for things like West Nile virus or Eastern equine encephalitis, which is very, very problematic. So they're just there as sort of sacrificial chickens.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. It says they keep them, and their sole job is to be bitten by mosquitoes.
That's their entire job.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, but they're also able. The thought is that they can then pinpoint areas of the park that would have been infiltrated by mosquitoes that might have some kind of infectious disease. I'm sure now they use insecticides. I mean, there's plenty. Not plenty. There's insecticides that are approved for use around humans. So I'm sure that they do that. I don't know that for sure, but I can't imagine that they do. They have an entire mosquito surveillance program there. They take it very, very seriously.
Oh my God.
Can we
not messing around.
Can we get more mosquitoes to Coachella? How do we do that?
Yeah.
I just want to see
More stinky
puffed
people.
up Instagram models.
It's pretty dry out there. I need some dank water.
Yeah.
Just go pour some water bottles out.
Yeah.
Well, there'd be some dank water there.
Little
It's
kiddie
a
pool.
spring. It's a spring now,
Yeah.
isn't it? Palm Springs.
Okay, Adam. So now we're to the part of our show, dinner party facts. Since you know so much about our show, you already know what this is, but we'd like you to tell us something
I've got a
about
couple
mosquitoes.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of them. So the first one that I put is that amazingly, male mosquitoes are able to ejaculate 5 times without their head, which is pretty
What do you
incredible.
mean? Like if their head's chopped off?
So there's this technique that's used with mosquitoes. It's called forced mating. It's not nice. So you take male mosquitoes, you pull off their head and all of their legs, and you shove their body onto this needle.
That's funny because that's what makes me come.
So you impale this mosquito, this shell of a male on this needle. And then you take female mosquitoes, which you then anesthetize. So you drug them, roofie them basically. And you lay them on their back.
The mosquito comes in and then the thing that I haven't got a head.
It's brilliant. And then you have these females that are then knocked out, and you rub the male genital claspers over the female's abdomen. And I've seen it, like the male doesn't have a fucking head, but his claspers are going crazy, like trying to grab the female as soon as possible. And he grabs the female, and then he ejaculates. And the record is that males can ejaculate 5 times without a head.
Damn.
Wow.
All right. You said you had a lot of them.
I couldn't because the head's where I keep all my cum.
You said you had a lot of. How about just one more for us? One more dinner party.
Yeah. So the other one is actually, again, as a fan of the podcast, I remember Wayne Fetterman's one about slaves in Africa.
Yeah. Originally slaves were used at Disneyland. That's good.
But so this one is actually very, very relevant to how mosquitoes, the mosquito-borne infectious disease, affected the slave affected slaving. So most Africans are, they've acquired resistance to different kinds of mosquito-borne infectious diseases like malaria or yellow fever or whatever. So, like you probably heard of sickle cell anemia.
Yeah.
That's actually an adaptation in Africans to deal with the effects of malaria, as a matter of fact. So the population of the New World, so, like North America, South America, Central America, was so decimated by the diseases that were brought from Europe that they turned to Africa to find populations of slaves that were already more adapted to dealing with the same kind of mosquito-borne infectious disease. And so that's one of the reasons why, slaves were far more heavily pulled out of parts of Africa, because they'd already demonstrated an ability to deal with these diseases that were killing tens of millions of people.
Wow.
Not really. Yeah. So that's that. And mosquito-borne infectious diseases like malaria have affected the course of human history all over. I mean, it affected the Civil War. It affected the Roman Empire as well. It affected the crusades. Like it's been one of the most important shaping forces. I mean, there's a book that I read recently called The Mosquito: A Human History of Our Deadliest Predator, in which this historian, Timothy Weingart, estimates that 52 billion people, which is about half of all the people that have ever existed on this earth, have died because of mosquitoes.
Wow.
All right.
That's fucking
That's
crazy.
a good one. I was
That's a good one there.
I was just thinking, you know where there would be mosquitoes? Knott's Berry Farm. They haven't set up anything.
No chickens.
that log ride, that's Mosquitoville. Even more, I was going, Raging Waters would probably have a lot of mosquitoes, but Knott's Berry Farm's your number one.
Well, Raging Waters has all the moving water.
It's
though.
all moving.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
A lot of pee
They'd
in
be
the
fine.
water too.
Half the world has died because of mosquitoes. That's good. That's a good one.
You ever been
Yeah.
to Swamp World? They got a lot of mosquitoes. It's a terrible theme park.
Still standing world.
Thank you, Adam South, for being here. Again, his Instagram is dr_Adam_South. Go to his Instagram, and there's a link there for his Firefly project that he's part of. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam.
And
That was very informative. You got anything you want to plug, mate?
No, not really. Just the Firefly project that I work on. I know a lot more about fireflies than I do about mosquitoes. And they're way
That's
more
another
fascinating.
podcast.
So
Another
I'd
day.
love to do another one. Yeah.
I'm happy we did
Yeah.
mosquitoes and not fireflies because I thought fireflies were mythical. If you're ever at a party and someone says no one's ever died from a mosquito bite, go, well, I don't know about that, and walk away. Good night, Australia.